Tell you what, I am fired up about that voice. I tell you what, Labor. Also out there today, this ongoing energy train wreck due to the government's obsession with the renewables-only electricity grid that Labor keeps doubling down on, despite the trillion-dollar cost, despite the experience overseas, despite the pleas today from energy experts, or the intervention of Labor luminaries like former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. The one thing no one in the Albanese government wanted to talk about today, and they were pushed, was the near 24-hour national power blackout in Spain and Portugal, countries like us that are aiming for a renewables-only power grid and that just have only celebrated the first full day of 100% renewable power. Except that the power has just gone completely out, triggering a national chaos. Now, most likely it was all caused by the highly fluctuating production inevitable in a weather-dependent renewables system. Meanwhile, some unlikely people started to call out the damage caused by this whole net zero crusade. In a carefully considered intervention, former British Labor Prime Minister Tony Blair has advised his Labor colleagues to about face on net zero. His message to the current British PM is that net zero is doomed to fail. Blair said it's wrong that people were, quote, being asked to make financial sacrifices and changes in lifestyle when they know that their impact on global emissions is minimal. In a pointed message, he told his former Labor colleagues that they must face up to, and I quote, inconvenient facts. He accused Labor's leaders of being, quote, terrified to admit that climate policies are not working from fear of being climate deniers. And he's being joined by other British MPs from working class seats most damaged by deindustrialisation. Here's one, Graham Stringer, an MP who holds a seat centred around the hard scrabble parts of Manchester, who said, and I quote, net zero is helping the Chinese economy to the detriment of the British economy. Now, in all of that, you could just substitute Australia for Britain. But is anyone listening here to Tony Blair or the 50 prominent Australians, including the former head of the Australian Nuclear Science Technology Organisation, ANSTO, that runs our medical nuclear reactor at Lucas Heights in the suburbs of Sydney, who today published an open letter in all of our major papers. It said, I quote, we're being pushed into a reckless, multi-trillion-dollar energy experiment without proper planning, honest debate or engineering oversight. Powerful vested interests, they said, are shaping energy policy. Quote, many energy and environmental organisations are funded by foreign investors, foreign renewable manufacturers and billionaire donors without sufficient transparency. Under current policies, they said, the risk of blackouts is real and rising. Why do renewables still require massive subsidies if they are so cheap? They asked. We don't bulldoze the environment to save it, they said. We don't ignore slave labour to meet a climate target, they said. Another signatory, former Australian of the Year, Dick Smith, said, it is a delusion that we can run a country on renewables and batteries. Once renewables get to around 20% of the system, they start to destroy the economics of baseload, 24/7 power, the sort of power we need to keep the lights on. Once renewables get to about 50% of the system, well, they put its stability and reliability at grave risk. Yet Chris Bowen, if he is returned to power, wants 82% renewables within 5 years. Remember what I just said. This is the most consequential election in generations. Australia cannot afford a second term of Labor. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.